Hey guys, come on in here. Come on in here. It's your girl Sherri Summers, your revenue master life coach. How we doing today? It's our faith, favor, and finance show when we do every Tuesday. If you're tuning in on Facebook or on my YouTube channel, welcome. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the ding bell so you can know every time I come on. Every Tuesday, I bring you a live videos to help you break your limited belief system and build financial confidence. I'm so excited because I have an amazing guest in here tonight and today, and we're going to be talking about how to disrupt the financial industry, So come on in here. As you come in, tell us who you are, tell us what you do, and guess what? You will not want to miss this faith, favor, and finance show, baby, because we are going to be touching on some buttons. We're going to be making some people mad today. I love disruption because it's an open place for conversation. I think when you know better, you do better. And as financial coaches, as you guys come in here, tell us who you are. Where are you in the financial space, just in case someone is looking for your service. And if you're new to our financial home, please let me say welcome, an open welcome to our financial group. We do this again every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let me go ahead and bring the beautiful Toni Moore, Esquire, in here. And Toni's going to tell us who she is and what she do. I had an amazing opportunity to being coached with Toni for a long time. We both had the same coach, and we had an opportunity to reunite this past few weeks in Oakland, and we were talking about our financial industry. So Toni, I'm going to bring you on right now so that people can know who you are and what you do. And as you come in, let me go ahead and bring you on screen with me right now. Hey, Toni, how are you doing,
Hello,
gorgeous? Can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay, I'm
Yes.
going to move over so they can hear me.
All is
Okay,
well,
good.
all is well.
Listen, guys,
Yeah.
before Toni begin, if you haven't already, tag your business bestie. You will, if they're in the financial space, even if they're not, if you're a coach of any sort, it's important for you to tag them because we're going to dive in. Toni, tell us who you are, tell us what you do, and I'm going to go off screen so you can go ahead and do that.
Hello, everyone. My name is Toni Moore. I am an asset protection attorney based out in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I am licensed to practice in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and I'm waiting for my waivers for New York. For over 22 years, I pretty much served as an asset protection attorney, where I'm helping individuals protect their assets. Once upon a time, we were protecting it a lot from litigation. We used to do share sales, foreclosures. Then I got into asset protection when it comes to divorce law. And then I got really, really interested in the financial services. So I ended up with a company, help people to, invest in their money, invest in their life insurance, help people get out of debt, things of that nature. But I really, really do like law, right? Because to me, you can't really get away from law. So I got into law, got more in depth into financial services, and so much so that I ended up going to the enforcement side. And then I started to ask, well, how is it that not many people know about what their rights are, how the investments, who's going to educate them, who's going to help them, lead them, guide them. Because for whatever reason, most people think you can either start a business and get super, super rich, or at 65 years old, guess what? All of a sudden, this great man in the sky cracks open the sky and he gives you like all of the retirement money that you never saved up for, right? So I got into that and fell in love with the entrepreneurial space, because to me, entrepreneurs, they just do stuff. We do stuff differently. We're always looking at a problem. We're always trying to come up with a solution, right? So that's the space that I'm in. And then I happened upon author, speaker, coach. I've been coaching as a lawyer and a financial planner for all these years and never got paid for it. I'm gonna just leave it right there. So, so I just really love what I do. And now, when I talk about intellectual property, I just tell people to multiply, multiply their money with intellectual property. And we'll go into that a little further.
I love it. You're already dropping gems already. If you haven't, go ahead and mute me on your, if you're already dropping gems already, listen to me and listen to me very, very well. We are going to disrupt the financial industry right now. So if you haven't already dropped, grab your pen, your Diva pen and your diamond notebook. I want you to jump in here because Toni and I have been friends for a long time, but we really didn't realize that our industry crossed each other until we flew to Oakland a few days ago. And one of the things about our business, we allow us to travel around the world and speak about our expertise. And we were able to meet up. We both was in Oakland together. And I said, Toni, I got to have you on my show because the knowledge and expertise that you have as an attorney, we all need. And Toni is, specialized in celebrity clients as well. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. But one thing, Toni, I want to touch on a little bit is when it comes to the first thing I want to touch on really, really fast is when it comes to the financial industry. Like when I got in life insurance, Toni, I'm going to be honest. What shocked the crap out of me was there in the beginning. I notice I said in the beginning, it was how much less money that they were making compared to what we thought, right? Compared to what we thought. And it's not that it's not money out there for financial. Touch on that a little bit, because in case somebody want to go into another industry or they think they see the shiny object syndrome, we want to get them an idea of what it looks like in your world, because I think knowledge is power. So go ahead and tell us what is like in starting out in the space that you're in.
Wow. When I first started out in the space, I was at this law firm, right? And they had, it was like years ago, but I made $75,000. I was like, oh yes, I'm awesome, amazing. This is like over like 15 years ago, $75,000. But no one told me that I had a 200 hour a month billable minimum. And drinking coffee.
Can you tell us what that means?
Talking to your girls, that's not billable hours. Yes. So a billable minimum means that that people were pretty much, billable minimum means that every working 40 hours was unheard of when you have a billable minimum. When you have a billable minimum, that means that anytime I touch a file and work on a client's file, I have to be billing at least for 200, like a minimum 200. We figured it out. I had to be billing at least 50 or 60 hours per week. And there was always a third party who would be like, oh, they spent too much time. So I would have to make up that time period. So when people were working 9 to 5, that's not going to meet your billable minimum. You pretty much, I think at that time, I figured it out. I had to come in at 8 o'clock and leave at 7 p.m., 7:30, to meet that billable minimum. And then I went to another law firm where their billable minimum was more expensive. And we had to do client retention and client development, which is not billable. That's something you have to do. So they would say, so are you, Saturdays was dressed down day. No, Saturdays was business casual. So we had to work in a suit and tie and a jacket. And I have my jacket on today, or you had to work in, but on Sundays, you had casual day. Sundays, you had casual day because
I know there's a delay, so I apologize ahead of time, but we're able to hear you. So that's more important than anything else. We're definitely able to hear you. I wanted to touch on that because it's kind of the same way in the financial industry. When I came into life insurance and they're like, yeah, you can make so much money, and you can. Let's be very, very clear of that. But here's what it comes when you first start out is getting the clients, getting the paperwork done, then go back to make sure that the paperwork was done properly. Then the insurance company is requesting all this stuff from you. So with one client that you're signing life insurance for, you can go back and forth all the time with that one client, signing paperwork, sign it. By the time you reach your gas and your time of completing the paperwork, building the relationship, and you compare to the amount based on where you are on your business or based on where you are on the level of that company, it may look like, what in the world is this that I'm bringing home? And I think no one give us the idea of what that looks like before until now. That's what I call this live about disrupting the financial industry, because I wish someone paint a better picture and let other people know that you have to create multiple channels of making money within that same industry. Hear me clearly. This is why I said about disrupting. When you have those intellectual properties that Toni's going to touch on, you have to create ways and secure those intellectual properties, because it takes a while to build up your tribe, to build up your clientele, for someone to recognize you as the expert in your field. So during that time, this is when you have to start creating different things, because as Toni and I are saying, as is she as an attorney and myself as in the financial space, it takes a while to build that tribe to say, I like, know, and trust you. And we, when we hear these numbers and we hear it sounds good on paper, but when what Toni's saying, that these billable hours, you still got to come in with a suit and tie. So I didn't want the front face of what it looks like to fool you. Can it happen? Can you build your way towards that? Yes. But if I'm going in today, I need to put lights, water, phone bill, all that. I need to get them paid today. Right. So I really wanted to touch on that. Now go deeper into intellectual properties and what that looks like, Toni, from a attorney standpoint.
So if they're all financial planners, yesterday a financial planner, she's an insurance and she's a broker, right? And she has, I guess, taken care of this client 3, 4, 5 times, right? And the client has said, oh, I need to talk to an attorney. So she said, Tone, can you come in? Well, at this point, 22 years in, I don't really go into nobody's house unless I'm getting paid, right? And I don't go to nobody's business, because we have intellectual property in place where I'm like, oh, you want to learn more about, asset protection. Oh, you want to learn more about trust and estates. We already have that intellectual property. I've already done those workshops, so I can send it to a client. But yesterday I had to drive, because obviously, we're going to have to boss up this financial coach. I had to drive like 45 minutes outside of my house. And so we met someone to do a sales call, and I was like, so we had conversations, and the woman was like, oh my God, I want to work with you and stuff. So I get that some people need that touch, know, like, and trust. But while she was talking and while I was talking, care, like home care, she sets up home care. So I said, first of all, you need a brand, you know what I mean? So that people can know you, like you, and trust your brand. And then I said, and all this information that you drop in this information, I was like, this could have been a recordation, and you can be sitting back with your curriculum already recorded. People already see you as the home care woman. They come in. I was like, and all of this stuff right here with regards to, and I looked at the financial planner. I said, this conversation, this could have been a Zoom call. And once you have a Zoom call and a Zoom presentation, you can systematize it and you can replicate it. That's what I mean. Multiply your intellectual property, because all of this stuff that we know, all of the stuff that people haven't heard before, like I wasn't giving up information because I just thought it was redundant. I was like, oh, people know that. But you already know, if you've been a financial coach for a while, you know that most people don't know about IULs. They know barely about wills, but they don't know the difference between a trust and an irrevocable or revocable trust. All of that stuff, you're teaching it. How many times do you have to teach it when you just say, you know what, I can record this. You know what, this can be a Zoom presentation, and then it can be evergreen. So at least now you can strategize. At least you can talk to them. At least you can disrupt, disrupt without having all that sweat equity. While I was driving down to the presentation, right, I was just like, we got to get out of the mind of sweat equity. I know our ancestors did sweat equity, and I know people who did financial services before. They know how to go, because I used to do it. You go to their house, you meet their friends, you talk to their dog, you know what I mean? You come back, then they got questions, and they want to talk to their mama, sister, cousin. You got to disrupt their mindset, and then they come back, and then you ask for referrals and stuff like that. Well, then when I started, or you either go to a hotel and you got to rent space, and you got to give people cookies and donuts, and people see free, so they're going to show up for the workshop, and then who got time for that? We got to get out of that sweat equity. And then I tell people, you just look good. You get a makeup artist. I told the woman, I say, you need a production team. You need to systematize this. You need to teach this one time and monetize it for a lifetime. And then I looked at the financial planner, and I was like, you too,
You know, Toni, you're saying so much. Oh my gosh. I hope y'all are getting this, y'all. If you're just joining me, I know there's a delay, but I know you can hear her clearly. Let me tell you something. She touched on so much nuggets because when I got in life insurance industry, and I was like, listen, I said, I'm a marketer. I said, I'm coming in as a marketer. And no, I'm not marketing the way you think. I'm not door knocking. I'm not, there's certain things I'm not doing. And one of the reason why is because it's 2020. People want relationship. It's 2020. There's different way you can take your like she just said, your genius and package that and monetize and package that genius. And I think, Toni, why is it, right? Why is it that the financial industry, whether you're in real estate, whether you're in life insurance, whether you're anything that you're in, credit repair, accounting, why do they fail to teach the fact that each individual or each person requires, you say, okay, each person is really a business, right? Each business, even if you're an LMM business, requires a brand. It requires your own individual brand, no matter what financial industry you're in. And I know that there's FINRA rules and all these type of rules, but you can still, there's still ways to monetize your brand and create a brand identity without having to touch on that. Why is it that you think that the financial industry fails to teach the brand piece of branding yourself as so people can like, know, and trust you? Why do you think they fail at that? Is it because of all the rules with FINRA and all this stuff? And if you guys are like wondering what I'm saying, there's certain rules that govern financial coaches, whether in life insurance and so on, that say what you can advertise and what you cannot. And that's what we were talking about.
Yes. So I saw a question. Stella asked questions with regards to starting out. So she wants the bare knuckles minimum. But to answer your question first, because you know I was a litigator, so we got to listen, we got to see, we got to do multiple things.
Correct. And
so
as an attorney,
as you were asking, why don't they? Why most people don't teach us how to brand ourselves is one, because because you work for the brand. So they don't want you to distinguish yourself from them, you know, because once you get to the point where you separate yourself from the brand of Northwestern, Mutual, or New York Life, or Prudential, or UBS, or the Merrill Lynch, that's the brand. So all you are is really a widget worker. When I first got started, I was at a law firm and I was doing billable hours. And to Stella's question, I was a widget. You know, I was a smart widget. I knew a lot about law and transactions, and I knew they would be like, okay, Toni, now you have to go to litigation. Okay, Toni, now you got to do a deposition. Okay, Toni, now there is a big landowner and developer, and now you got to partition out, have a conversation, make sure that they have like homeowners associations. I was not thinking about how to brand out Toni, how to distinguish Toni. You know, I was just doing what they told me to do, and in scratch and survival mode. Of course, it was at a different level, but it was still doing what Master told me to do. And they was the brand. The law firm was the brand. Every time I worked for someone, I was the brand. Now, what I started noticing was that the ones who differentiated themselves, there was this little book called The Rainmaker, and it's still on Amazon. It was called The Rainmaker. I didn't get it then 20 years ago, because when you first get started, and I'm from like the hood, I'm from the projects, foster care. So, you know, we had just welfare, we had food stamps. I went school shopping at the Goodwill, right? But when you get to the point where you start looking around and seeing how other people do, like I intentionally got into the financial services market. I intentionally said I wanted to start with estate planning. Even when I went over to the financial side, I intentionally wanted to learn, because there was this one person, I said, hey, all these rich people are doing this, I want to do that. And they're like, no, you're good with your people. And then I ended up in employee benefits, which is great, but I ended up in employee benefits because I talked to a partner and I wanted to get out of family law. And I said, I want to do something with taxes and estate planning. He said, your people get your money from ERISA, employee benefits. But even when I went to another firm, it wasn't what Toni could do. It was my sweat equity to work for the brand. So when you think about school and how they indoctrinate us to go to school, get good grades, you know, get a good job, you know what I mean, get a big house, get a nice foreign car and things of that nature, then guess what? you're always going to be indebted and you're always going to be working for the brand. Then they do great branding. You don't work for yourself because that looks awful to have to start out in the market and people be like, what are you doing or whatever? Because no one really talks to us about branding ourselves as the Rainmaker, as the person that they go to. But if you ever wanted to go rise to the top, the people who become partners, the people who was winning those the trips and stuff like that, that's because they realized that it really wasn't about pushing the products, it was pushing their personality.
Woo! Yes, Toni. Yes. Listen, if you haven't already, tag your business bestie. We are disrupting the financial space. We are disrupting the financial space right now. Y'all, listen, if you are not getting this, I don't know, if you're in a financial coach and you're here, and whether you have a personal finance or you're in some type of financial industry, real estate, life insurance, accounting, credit repair, all this stuff, understand that if you're not branding yourself, you're branding them very clearly. You're branding somebody. So if you're not branding yourself, you're branding someone. So when we talk about create your own personal brand, here's why I believe in creating your own personal brand, Toni. And you're going to talk about, securing your trademarks and all that a little bit later. But if you're not branding that company, Sherri said it is the 40th year and watch mentally. I love that, Sherri. And if you're branding somebody else, and what I think that we fail to realize is you are the gift. You're the talent. You're the talent. So what happened is they take your talent and brand their face on it, right? They take your talent and brand your gifts and they brand their face on it. And it's so important right now that more than ever, you're pushing yourself. You're pushing yourself, because when I get into this industry, like what y'all seeing right here with Toni and I, we're both in the financial space. But here's the difference of what happened. I came in from being a marketer. I came in from being a mindset marketing coach. I came from that aspect. So I went to marketing to finances. Toni went to finances to marketing, right? So we switch in a way. In a way, we switch our intellectual properties and our genius. But it was so shocking to me because I've always seen the fine clothing and anyone in the financial space that created this brand, like it's just so easy. Once you get in, you're going to make so much money. And when I start, like you just said, the lady, the financial planner, she met with her so many times. If she add up all the times, all the hours that she met and the paperwork, it wouldn't even add up to what the person get paid, the gas, the back and forth, the conversation. So that's why just thinking you're going to rely just on getting clients in the financial industry it's not sufficient for you to say you want to leave and create this business. You have to create. It's going to take a time for you to do that. That's why you got to build yours, like build it from the ground up. And when you're building, you also create an opportunity to keep it. That's what we're going to talk about, trademarking your products. Can you touch on that a little bit? That when you have your name, your company, your website, why do we need to trademark all this stuff, Toni? Why do we need copyright? Why do we need all this stuff? Why anybody want to take my stuff? Can you go deeper into that so we can learn more about trademarking our intellectual properties? And that's so important.
Absolutely. So first things first is that I need y'all to understand that a copyright is a registration. You can go to copyright.gov. A copyright is a registration that you're pretty much telling the world that you created, whether it's a dance, whether it's a picture, whether it's a course, whether it's a curriculum, whether it's if you're a photographer, that type of stuff, your framework. I always tell people to put the framework in an ebook, flip it into something that is recordation of your intellectual property. Then you go over to copyright.gov. Even all your quotes and stuff like that, if you be like, oh, that's my quote. As of 2019, if it's not recorded, a recordation, and it's a registration, then guess what? People can pretty much, they can't use your stuff, but you can't cease and desist on them without a registration, right? So that's a copyright, copyright.gov. A trademark is a identifier. Every time I talk about identifier, I'm always thinking about, I always put a stamp, like it's a stamp. It's an identity of who the identifier is. Like if for Legally Chic, that's a brand that I have, right? And every time I put Legally Chic, because I'm like, hey, I want to get known in this big, huge industry. I want people to be legally chic, the same way women are very fashionable. I want them to go from clueless to flawless in business as well, right? So anytime that I had like a program, anytime I have like, a t-shirt line, anytime I have like a business administration and setup, I be like created by Legally Chic. Whenever you see trademark, it's literally saying created by. So it could be a name, it could be a word, it could be a tagline, it could be a sound identifier, it can even be a smell. Okay. So with a trademark, literally think of it as a byline, by me, by Legally Chic, because it is a source identifier of who the product or service has been created by. I even go so deep, like Massa and them, when they had awesome and amazing African Americans and women who were intelligent, they would brand them so all the other masters would know this is mine. If you're going to use any of the intellectual property, you got to come to master such and such at Plantation Ghettos or us, and then you have to ask for permission. They even knew how important our intellectual property was, so much so that if someone wanted to be free, they had to sign away their intellectual property in order for them to be free. So that's intellectual property. For patents, our ancestors created a lot. Women, men, African, Latino, we created a lot, and we still do, but with the products, because it's that creative mind, that creative genius, and it creates something mechanical, it creates something that's novel, it creates something that's resourceful, it creates something that, but for you, Sarah Blakely, we're Spanx be. We'd probably be wearing 3 pair of stockings right now just to look good, But when you have that product, or you have that special sauce in like a hair product, this woman came up with something that smooths curls and straightens hair, depending on how you want to wear it. She got a patent for that because she came up with the quotient, she came up with the potion, right? So when you identify intellectual property, I look at intellectual property, I want you to say infinite possibilities. Where can these infinite possibilities, I want you to think of infinite profits. You know what I mean? I want you to how you can create income passively, with the intellectual property, because you create it one time and you monetize it for a lifetime. And the reason why it's so important, it's hard when you're working for someone, because I don't know if you know this, but when you work for someone, whatever dime, that's their intellectual property. So a lot of people are side hustling, but their side hustle is in competition with their business that they work for. That's a problem, just as the FYI, somebody needs to know that, because that's not on script. But you need to know that when you're working for the master, you are not the master of your intellectual property. But when you are working for yourself, when you're not in competition with your employer who's feeding you and clothing you and giving you the employee goods, I need you to know actual property. If you're doing something that is disrupting, I have someone right now, he's disrupting, he blended history and math. And I'm like, what are you doing? We can't sit on this. We got to flip that into a book, flip it into a training, and show up each and every day. And even if you're going to do a course curriculum, right? If you talk about the inequality of financial education, somebody want to disrupt it, then that should be a whole conversation. And if you come up with something, because everyone's talking about diversity and inclusion, but what about money? Money answers all things. But if we just sitting in the cut, just trying to get our commission check from an insurance product, then we're not really doing what we need to do with that information that we glean from the textbooks, from our trade, from our business, from going through all of the trials and tribulations, maybe some snippets. Like somebody came up with some intellectual property on being your own banker with the IUL industry. What can you disrupt that name as your own, that you carve out from everybody else, so that the answer to who is you?
Oh my goodness. Wow. Disrupting, y'all. We are disrupting. Listen, if you're learning something from this, give me a high five in the chat, or drop me a gem, drop me a blue gem in the chat right now. We have the beautiful Toni Esquire in the building. We have the attorney Tony's in the building. We're talking about protecting our stuff, our personal brand. Listen, I love personal brand more than even corporate brand, because it builds a stronger relationship, right? It's more trustworthy when it's personal. And I had Toni come on here, talk about copyright, talk about trademarks, and talk about standing out among your company. I know right now inside the financial industry, Toni, when I got into the industry that I was in, it was everyone was independent and everyone got a piece of the company. But the challenge that we have with that company is, because you are independent, because you got a piece of the company, what was happening with this life insurance companies, nobody was meeting. It's like you were on your own. You were not meeting, right? So whatever you make, you make. So you can't, I know that success is not achieved alone. So when I got in there, I disrupt that, right? And I created my own agency, got everybody together, and every morning, and I think because I always told you guys I had to jump on a call 3 o'clock in the morning while I was in Oakland, and I have something called Ignite Your Morning because I wanted to create a community with life insurance agent where we talk and we worship together. And let me tell you something, Toni, it's not even marketing that's done in there. Just coming together as one, as a community, even though we represent different businesses under the same umbrella of life insurance, just coming together and we talk about our wins, talk about what's working, what's not, what we can improve on. Now they're coming to Orlando for a booth camp that I'm hosting, and we're hosting as a team, and just that, because I was like, yes, we all have a business, but we're under the same company. Let's win together. Not to mention, but when you have a solid team, people want to see a solid team that want to help them, and because we are both here to help you build wealth. That's what don't get it twisted. That's what we are here. And what I want to do, Toni, is equip the people who have the wealth knowledge like yourself, teach them how to brand themselves so they can be recognized. And when people see them, they said, hey, I need the knowledge that Sherri has. I need the knowledge that Sherelle has. I need the knowledge that Stella has. I need the knowledge that Jacintia have. I need the knowledge that Toni have. I need the knowledge that Laura have. And when we all come together, you're going to spread your knowledge. But if they can't find you, they're still hurting about that thing that they need to get to build wealth. They're still hurting. Their credit still has not been repaired. That house that they're looking for to buy has not bought. Somebody took their quote and run with them and they didn't get paid for it. Their problem is not solved if they can't find you. And why they can't find you is because you have not customized a place on the internet that you look different from your competitors. You have not customized. You have not bring out your story. And speaking of story, just transition me, Toni. Yeah, this is so good. Go ahead and drop a 5 in the chat or the gem. Tag someone who you know that need to be in here and get these gems right now, guys. Tag someone. I'm excited about live. I'm excited about Faith, Favor, and Finance live show because this is what we need to disrupt what we have going on. Let's talk about a story, Toni, because you said something earlier. You said, I was in foster care. I live in the projects, and here you are, an attorney. That's not possible. Now where I come from, that's not what I hear. I never heard that before. That's not possible. Girl, no chick from the hood becoming an attorney. You disrupting the financial space. You disrupting what's normal. You disrupting the normal, because when I check foster care and I check the hood, that doesn't go together with attorney, honey. I hate to tell you that. So can you tell us what is it that made you shift to become an attorney and your story? Because I just think that's powerful. I didn't want to overlook that this smart, educated woman was that diamond in the rough, and look at her, amazing that she is. And I know you had no power over your start, but you really have power over your future. So go ahead and talk to me about how, if you don't mind, how that transition, because I think this is going to inspire somebody today.
Well, pretty much like what you said, we are stronger together. That's pretty much why you were like, I came out with my own community. I have my collective, I'm inspiring someone. And so when I was growing up, I was an adultified kid. Anyone who worked in social work would know I was not a very good kid, right? But I was super smart. So I had a family member who told my mama about this school called the Milton Hershey School. And the Milton Hershey School is somewhere based on Hershey, PA. I'm from Harrisburg, Hershey, PA, and kids come from all over, as long as they're in the United States citizens, right? And Hershey, PA was pretty much, Milton Hershey was poor himself, and he pretty much discovered the secret potion. He branded Hershey, he has a whole town named after him. He said he had enough money to set up a trust, and that trust is in billions of dollars, right? So I was not very good. I was an adultified kid. I was a two tears in the bucket type of chick, from the hood. And so I actually got bounced out of 2 student homes, and I had a wing and a prayer that kept me there, right? And I actually had a house manager, that's what they call it, was like, what's going on? And I was just like, I didn't have the words. I wasn't articulate, but I really didn't have the words to say that, you know what, when you're based you're created from a place in a space where your mama don't want you, you know what I mean, and you're molested and all this other stuff, all you see is dark. So that's the only thing that comes out of you, right? But when I started to see that I had a chance and an opportunity and I was about to get kicked out, I was like, maybe I'll try it, give me a chance. So there was a career day. And it was like somebody said they wanted to be a lawyer. And it just caught my ear. We didn't have career day in the hood, right? So that's why, but just getting there and going to Milton Hershey School actually allowed me to go to the University of Penn. Because but for Milton Hershey School, I would have never known about Philadelphia. I mean, I'm from Harrisburg, and it's kind of like a slow community in Pennsylvania. I would have never heard about Philadelphia. I visited Philadelphia, like this drug dealer. Don't judge me, but I was like, I'm going back to Philly. And lo and behold, guess what? I ended up learning about Philadelphia, ended up finding the University of Pennsylvania, and something attracted me to the University of Pennsylvania. Unfortunately, when I got there, not once, not twice, I was on academic probation, but it was still something that said, but didn't you want to be a lawyer? Didn't you want to help kids so that they don't have to live like you have to live as a kid, So that's what really kept pulling me. So when people don't think about fate, I'm still like, there's a thin line that keeps pulling you. It serves as a talisman for you to become who you are. Because in the hood, all I knew was drug dealers and hairdressers, right? But when I went to University of Penn, I saw Black people, brown people, Asian people, people with money who weren't eating off the ground. It took me a while to stop finding money and food off the ground and snatching it up and trying to save it for later. Because that was my life. But when you get a peak, I think W.E.B. Du Bois had said something like, when you see something different, you can never go back, And I actually saw it in the second time that I was on academic probation. I started asking people, how is it that you're partying with me, but you're on, you're stellar, everything is good. And they was like, because I'm trying to get a degree, you know what I mean? And I'm not going back there. So I had to get very intentional about getting a degree, living my dreams. And then I started thinking, well, what if I can become a philanthropist like Milton Hershey? I haven't achieved that level yet, but what if I can help Black and brown girls? What if I can help people so that they can be successful? What if I can be the one that makes change possible? And the other thing, once I became a lawyer, I met this guy. He was a Caucasian guy. He was at JP Morgan. He was an attorney, a CPA, worked at JP Morgan. And I was an attorney, still floundering about with the billable hours. But it was a random, I didn't brand myself. I was just like, okay, I'm going to just go to this meet and greet, whatever. And he told me something that shifted my life. He told me that his most successful client was an African-American woman who cleaned at this mall. But she set up, and I don't know if she was an owner or not, but she was a cleaner. She cleaned at the mall, and she was hell-bent on creating an endowment. She ended up with $200,000 to go from projects to Penn. Sometimes you think that, oh, I don't have the right mom or dad, I don't have the talents or whatever. But when I found out that there was an African-American woman who was fixated on doing exactly what I wanted to do, which was become a philanthropist, she got her pennies together to get over $200,000 to gift away. That shifted my whole experience. And that's all you need, is just that one shift that's going to remind your spirit of where you're meant to be. One shift.
Wow. I always say my favorite word to say, and I've posted sometimes inside on my social media posts, it takes one transaction to transform your whole life. It takes one transaction. And here's what, oh my gosh, thank you, God. Like, it takes one transaction, y'all, to transform your whole life. So when you're posting, when you're going live, when you're showing what you're telling people what you do, when you're showing up as your brand, you're really just going after that one transaction. Because but here's the catch. You don't know what that one transaction is, right? You don't know if it's that post that's going to get them. You don't know if it's that live is going to get them. You don't know if you showing up somewhere in person is going to get them. But it takes one transaction, one check to change, one phone call, right? And that starts from you because you don't know which where the check, where the transaction is going to come from, where that call is going to come from, where that opportunity is going to come from. You plant so many different seeds, which is like what I call offer. So when you plant those seeds, you give your transaction enough time to rise and come, it attract itself to you. Because listening to you talk and listen what you just said about the lady, the cleaning lady. And my mom started here in America as a janitor from Jamaica, and still as a supervisor today in the janitorial space. But that janitorial space, I saw her as that. And because I was raised in that, I started my property preservation business from that, and now have staff that works for me. And we went down that before. But when she was just doing it because of convenience. She had to do it. You know, she had to do it. She had to get something do with her life. But me watching her, I learned the tools and tips and things that I need to start that company, that cleaning company, Summers Professional Cleaning. And that's how I got my start. So I know exactly. Then I also knew that if I was going to create wealth, I had to transform certain things. So I sold properties, and I live in an apartment so I could downsize, so I can have enough cash flow coming in, because I knew what we saw on TV, or what we call rich, wasn't a technical rich, right? There's a gentleman that I partner with in business, and Toni, I will tell you, you look at him, you're like, what? You know, and he has a trailer and a huge land, but he has several houses. You know, several houses, but he lives in a trailer and a huge land, because that's the land he's going to build his house on. So, and I learned, like, that's rich. That's rich. He can get up every day, determine what he want to do. That's rich. So what's your definition of rich? And you talk about JP Morgan. When I was in college, I wanted an opportunity to get in their door, and I could not. I wanted to get in their door to work in their mail room. Now, here I am going for my degree. And I said, if I just get in their mail room, and it never happened for me. I don't need them now. And it was more about, let me get in there and work for them. Let me get in there and brand them. But I thank God that the opportunity never came. I thank God. Beyonce say, I won 100 and something Grammys, but I was not selected 43 times. Thank God for the things we were not selected for. Thank God for the things that we were turned down for. You know, let your adversity be your test. Let it be the answer to the things that you want in life. Toni, this is just so amazing, because you have blessed my soul, being the fact that you came from poverty and came from the place you came from, and you have just taught women that it is possible. It is possible. Girl, you said, don't let this jacket fool you. It is possible. Now, Toni, let me ask you a question. Where can people find you? Where can people reach out to you? Tell us. I know you also have a free gift for us today.
Yes. So I can be reached at pretty much everywhere on Toni Moore, ToniMoore, Toni Moore, everywhere. You know, right? You know how people like, you can call me Toni Moore 1, and then hyphen underscore. No, Toni Moore ESQ. I even made it so easy. My cash app is Toni Moore ESQ. Okay, so I can be reached at ToniMooreESQ.com for people who are legally launching. You know, you may even have clients who need a legally launched guide. So I came up with a legally launched guide, right? That's not overly legal. Literally is a check by check, because I know, like, some people don't necessarily think like it's big. You know, you just gotta give them check by check list. So that legally launched guide is legallylaunched.com, legallylaunched.com. For me, to answer your question, rich to me is to have enough money that gives you opportunity. Like, I'm a God girl, and you know, my God said that, you know, money answers all things, right? And he also reminds me in Ecclesiastes in 11:2 that I'm supposed to have not just one stream, but multiple streams. He said 7, if not 8 streams of income. So for me, I want to have a rich life so that I don't have to ask my husband for money. Once upon a time, I did have to ask him for money. Once upon a time, when I had my first business, I did not have enough money because I didn't know marketing, sales. I didn't know the connect and things like that, you know, and so I would ask him for money. Sometimes he would give it to me, sometimes he wouldn't, you know. So I didn't like this. Money is supposed to give you options, and I always say money gives you options. Even like recently, you know, I like how the shoes were reversed, because I have learned the power of using my intellectual property, and someone said talk about licensing. So, I always tell people about licensing your intellectual property, whether it's with an affiliate. You give them an affiliate link. They have options of, passing that information. They get rewarded. It's still your information. If you are also working and somebody's like, oh my God, I need a marketing plan for financial planners, then you can, create your genius, put it, copyright it. Because I tell people the easiest way to do it is to take your live stream, flip that into an ebook registered at copyright.gov. And I don't care if you become one of them can't message preachers, at least ain't nobody going to take from you your new stuff, okay? Because you say it enough times and it's identified as you. So, and then you can license that training. You can even set something where different than accreditations. Accreditations is something that your state has the rules for being accredited. But certifications, you brand out that training, with regards to, money mindset mastery for financial coaches. Oh my God, what is that? You created it, you named it, now you license it by, allowing other people to learn your training and things like that. And that's money. That's passive income. That's someone else's sweat equity that gives you the power of the cha-ching ching, So I need you to understand that when you create it, when you're the source creator, and people want it, then that's a rich life. That's something that you don't have to have that sweat equity. So you don't have to be pretty much like addicted to your own sweat equity. No, owner's equity is where you can say you can get some or you can take some away. You can have the power of royalties. And when you own something, then you can create derivatives from it, right? Maybe somebody might want a piece, maybe you might be able to work with a production company. Maybe you can work with another coaching program. Maybe you can create a symposium. All of that good stuff is like intellectual property, because literally whatever you think, whatever you ink, whatever you do, that is your money maker. Even when I tell people to protect their assets, there's usually someone who's saying, well, I don't have any assets. It's not just a house and a car, it's your solutions. This one woman, she told me she's a millionaire right now. But in the beginning, she noticed that her company was utilizing the training that they were literally taking her training, using it as their own. No, she got an attorney. She's like, this is my training. You never treated me as an employee. She carved that training out and then she licensed the company. That's the power of knowing your rights. Just because, you put it out there doesn't mean that it has to be the universe's. You got to own your ship. Praise the Lord. But you got to own your ship. You create it and you have the faith and you are the captain. Well, you got to own it. You already saw what happened to Nick Cannon. He was the creator, but he wasn't the owner. That's a distinction.
One more time.
Yeah, he was the creator. He had great ideas. He created. I did that Buck Wild, and everybody knew him as the creator, but he wasn't the owner. He wasn't the owner. And when you are the owner, you can give it and you can take it away. You can cease and desist. You can snatch assets when you are the owner. When you're the creator, need to know this, that, the law does not protect ideas. People are like, I don't want nobody to imitate my ideas. Ooh, that's not protected. So you got to conceptualize the monetize. Ooh, that's a drop right there. Conceptualize it. You got to put it into something and then monetize.
Whoa, wow. Girl, you said so much. Yes. Money for the people were like, what is she talking about? Yes, I have my money marketing mindset courses coming out in November. Yes, that's what we were talking about. Master courses.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
And one of the things I want to touch on, the reason why I even had that course, because there's so many things where I feel like as a financial coach, I truly believe that this is a piece first that we need to get in, because when you can't, I heard Darnell and Darnell Harmony says you can't have a booming business and busted life. So therefore, what does she mean by that? That she mean like getting your stewardship of your mindset around money in order first before you start helping somebody else in finances. Getting your idea of your worthiness of money first before you start helping people in that financial space. So all the agents and all of them have that's the course that they're coming to first after their sign up. This is they talking about securing it and licensing it. That's what we're talking about here, because they're sending the insurance company is sending their agents to this course because they wanted to be right with them first, personally right first, before they go out there and represent their company when their business and their life is not together. Now, we're not saying it's going to be perfect, because we all know what's that financial coach? He was helping people with their finances while working on his own. So we already know that doesn't mean that you need to stop what you're doing, but we have to make sure that we get our house in order first before trying to get somebody else's house in order. And I think, but in order means believe that you're worthy of your blessings. Believe that the idea that you have in your head, it can manifest when you create success habits, which is some of the lives I talk about today. Toni, has been a pleasure having you here. Hey guys, just go ahead and drop a short nugget of what you're taking away from today. Go ahead and drop it right now. One little short thing that you have learned today and you're going to take away and they're going to stick with you. Knowledge, applied knowledge is power. Information plus application, it creates transformation. So I want to make sure that you get it today. Toni, I'm so excited. I know you're going to drop your freebie that you had for us inside of the comments, and I'm excited about that, your checklist. And listen, come back anytime, because we want to make sure that we know the knowledge. You know, one of the times I ask people, if you're struggling right now, ask yourself why, because there's so much ways of help and knowledge and information that you can get right now to get you out of that. So struggling is either two things: you don't have enough information, or you don't know how to apply the information that you have. You don't have enough information, you don't have the applied information you have, or you don't have that success habit, which is what my Money Master Marketing Mindset course will cover. Those three things. You don't have the right information, you don't have to apply the information you got, right? You don't know how to apply the information you got. And if you do have the information, you don't have the habits, the success habit, that personal development habits to apply that information. Toni, any last words before we go?
Well, I just want you to just know that in the beginning, it's hard because pretty much you only do what you know, but I need you to seek to see, right? Seek to see, carve out your niche, because there is something that's deep down on inside of you. There's a mission, there's a message that's meant for you. And that mission and that message is also assigned to your money, because you already have the power to create wealth. And you're in the wealthy space. So you need to bless yourself as you continually to bless others.
Woo! Bless yourself. That's what I call making income while making an impact. Yes, yes, yes. All right, guys. I told you I'm so excited. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. I appreciate it. I am so excited that you tuned in today to the beautiful Toni Moore. I had a great time talking with Toni. She is phenomenal, and I am so excited that she came into our Faith, Favor, and Finance. If you learned something from today's show, please, please, please go ahead and put in the comments, tag your business bestie. We want to get all the information out to you. We truly want to get all the information out. And I'm going to bring back Toni just to say, ciao, here today. All right, Toni, thank you. We appreciate it. All right, guys, it's your girl, Sherri Summers, your Revenue Master Life Coach. Have a great day. Talk to you later.